Okay, here we go. We're going to solve quadratics using factoring. So this looks familiar, right? The part on the left side, that's what we've been working with this whole time. Right here, we've been factoring, right? Now we see it's part of an equation where we want to know, hey, where is this quadratic equal to 0? So you know what? We know what to do. We're going to kind of ignore, let's put a little rectangle here. Let's just ignore this, is that big enough? Let's ignore this equals 0 for a second, all right? And let's just go on our merry way and do what we know how to do. We know how to factor. So let's factor. So we're going to say 2x times x is x squared, right? Two numbers that multiply to equal 10 but add to equal 7. We know it, 2 and 5. We've done so many of these. And of course, plus, plus. All right, now, we're not just factoring anymore. Now we are solving. So let's go ahead and move this rectangle and see what's going on. Let's go ahead and finish. We've got equals 0. All right, now I want you to notice something. We've got something times something equal to 0. Now we know if we're multiplying two things and they equal 0, then at least one of them has to equal 0. You can't multiply two numbers together and get 0 unless one of them is 0, and maybe both of them, right? So what we do is we set this up and we say, all right, maybe x plus 2 is 0, or x plus 5 is 0. And then we solve. We can do this, subtract both sides by 2, x is equal to negative 2, or let's subtract both sides by 5, x is equal to negative 5. This is where the quadratic is equal to 0. So if we plugged into the originals, if we took the time, which we're not going to right now, but plugged in negative 2 for every time we saw an x, we get 0. If we plugged in a negative 5 every time we saw an x, we get 0. So cool. We can now solve quadratic equations because we know how to factor. All right, let's look at this side and ignore that we're in an equation. This, we need to take out the GCF, right? We know that 4 and 2, the biggest number to come out is a 2. X squared and x, the biggest x to come out is an x. And when we factor that out, we get what? A 2x here and a minus 1 here. All right, now let's bring down that equals 0. Once again, if we've got something times something equals 0, we know that means 2x equals 0 or 2x minus 1 equals 0. They're both going to give us the correct answer. We divide both sides by 2. We say x equals 0. We're going to add 1 here. We get 2x equals 1. Divide by 2. I'm running out of room. We get x equals 1/2. Both of these are our answers. We get 2 answers when we are solving these quadratics. Sometimes. Sometimes we'll just get 1, but we'll see. All right, let's do another one. So once again, oh no. So this one looks different. Let's look at the first one. See how we had the whole quadratic and then we had the equals 0? This one, not so much. We got the equals 9. Now, we can't factor until we've got a 0 over here. We can't start factoring with a 9. So guess what? We got to move the 9 to the left side. Let's subtract the 9, okay, and let's see what that gives us. So that gives us an x squared minus an 8x minus a 20. And of course, 9 minus 9 is 0. Now we can factor. Now we can look at this side and we can say, okay, we know how to factor this. X and an x and what, a 10 and a 2, right? Negative 10, positive 2. You may think I'm flying through this, but we've done so many delta math problems, right? We are good at this. All right, so once again, we've got that same thing going on where we've got something times something equals 0. So what does that mean? That means either x minus 10 equals 0, that's going to give us one of our answers, or x plus 2 equals 0, that's going to give us our other. We're going to add 10 to both sides, we get x equals 10. Subtract 2 from both sides, we get x equals negative 2. Both of these are our answers. If we plug them into the beginning, we would get a true statement. All right, I think we have one more to do. And once again, we can't factor until we have a 0 on this side. And man, we got some work to do here, don't we? All right, let's go ahead and let's get rid of the x first. Let's bring that x over. And I'm going to write it underneath its like term. So we're going to have x squared. Now this is interesting. X minus x, well, that goes away. What else do we have left? We have minus 30. And then, of course, this goes away, and we have a 6. All right, we're almost there. Let's move that 6. Let's subtract 6 from both sides. So we get an x squared minus 36 equals 0. And we're like, what? We didn't see that coming, right? What we have here is a difference of 2 squares. When we started it, it certainly didn't look like it was going to be the difference of 2 squares, but surprise, surprise, we know how to factor this. Let's go ahead and let's factor. We've got, when we have the difference of 2 squares, we've got an x and an x. The square root of 36 is 6, so a 6 and a 6, and we put a plus in one and a minus in the other. So once again, we've got something times something equals 0. And so we're going to set both those, oh gosh, what color should I use? We're going to set both those things, ooh, that's bright, equal to 0. And we're going to get 2 answers. We're going to subtract 6 from both sides to get x equals negative 6. And add 6 to both sides to get x equals 6. We have 2 answers. Cool, cool. I think that's it. You know what I'm going to say. Practice, practice, practice. See you in class.